Welcome to The Explainer, why Iran blocks Strait passage. Okay, let's just cut right through all the geopolitical noise today. If you've been watching the news at all lately, you absolutely know that the incredibly vital Strait of Hormuz has been choked off, and it's sparking, well, global panic. So today, we're going to break down exactly why this is happening, what both sides actually want, and the honestly bizarre behind-the-scenes factors driving this massive standoff. But right off the bat, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room here. A lot of people, especially younger viewers who've pretty much grown up with a constant backdrop of Middle Eastern conflict, are experiencing massive information fatigue. As one observer recently put it, there's just a level of exhaustion and a level of confusion of where we are actually at. I totally get it, and that is exactly why we're doing this explainer. My promise to you today is to give you clear, direct answers using just the cold, hard facts from recent reporting. To really grasp the stakes here, we've got to start with this staggering number, 1/5. That is the fraction of the entire world's oil that typically flows through this narrow, heavily contested waterway. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just some regional shipping lane. It's quite literally a global economic artery. When traffic slows down there, the whole world feels the pulse check. Okay, moving to section 1. The strait is closed, the tit-for-tat escalation. Let's look at how this immediate crisis completely shattered the recent 60-day ceasefire. To understand where we are right now, you really have to look at the incredibly rapid tit-for-tat escalation that happened over just a handful of days. Day 1 saw an attack on a Cyprus-flagged container ship right in the strait. Then on day 2, U.S. Central Command launched the third round of strikes against Iranian assets, saying they were degrading Iran's ability to attack ships. By day 3, Iran retaliated. They fired warning shots at vessels that had reportedly switched off their transponders and deviated from approved routes. And finally, on day 4, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, formally declared the strait closed to foreign vessels until further notice, pointing to the illegal interference of foreigners. It all happened incredibly fast. And the real-world consequences? Well, you're already here. Oil futures are sitting at $71 a barrel. Now that's lower than the $100 mark at the start of the broader conflict, but it is still highly volatile. But beyond just oil, the economic fallout is actively hitting the supply chain. Global shipping rates literally doubled between May and June alone, and they're just climbing higher into July. Section 2. Iran's golden weapon, the asymmetric strategy. We need to peel back a layer here and ask a fundamental question. Why on earth is Iran doing this? What's the ultimate strategy? As one senior Iranian source described it to reporters, Hormuz is Iran's golden weapon. The view inside Tehran's top circles is that no rational country could give up such an important point of leverage. You see, Iran knows it simply cannot match the United States militarily in a direct, head-to-head war. So they're using the Strait of Hormuz as an asymmetric lever. Basically, they're trying to turn a military conflict into an economic one. Iran isn't just looking to cause chaos, right? They have a very calculated agenda. First off, by dictating who passes, they exert sovereignty over neighboring Arab states' territorial waters. Second, they're aiming to force the unfreezing of their global assets to gain some critical leverage against crippling U.S. sanctions. But lastly, and honestly most importantly, Iran wants to establish an administrative regime where they act as the ultimate gatekeeper of the strait. They're even looking at potentially setting up a toll structure for international shipping. They want the world to acknowledge loud and clear that they are in charge of this choke point. Which brings us to Section 3, what the U.S. wants, the clash of demands. The crucial point here is understanding how Iran's goals violently collide with the U.S. administration's core objectives. It's fundamentally a complete deadlock. On one side, we have the U.S. demands, absolutely unrestricted free passage for anyone, absolutely no tolls, and a public guarantee from Iran that commercial ships will not be targeted. The U.S. position is essentially anyone can sail anywhere. Opposing them are Iran's demands. They insist on acting as the gatekeeper, creating an administrative structure that ships absolutely must coordinate with and demanding an end to U.S. and foreign intervention in the region. Right now, these two positions are just fundamentally incompatible. Section 4, internal pressures and wildcards, the volatile factors. Let's pull back another layer, because as you know, geopolitical chess is rarely just about what happens on the water. There are massive internal pressures and wildcards on both sides, making this situation incredibly fragile. For one, the stakes have become intensely personal. Following Israeli intelligence reports of an alleged Iranian assassination plot against him, President Trump posted that 1,000 missiles are locked and loaded and aimed at the Islamic Republic should they act on their threat. Analysts note that after the US and Israel assassinated several top Iranian leaders, including members of the supreme leader's own family, certain elements of Tehran's hardline leadership want revenge. The rhetoric is explosive for sure, and the threat of severe, disproportionate military escalation is very real. But wait, let's flip the script for a second and look inside Iran. Experts point out that the IRGC's biggest threat isn't actually the US military, it's their own people. The Iranian regime is deeply, deeply unpopular domestically. Following widespread protests where the regime killed upwards of 10,000 of its own citizens just to maintain control, they are teetering. So all this external bluster, the attacks on shipping, the standing up to the US, actually, much of this is designed for domestic consumption. It's meant to make the regime look strong and to rally the country around the flag against an outside enemy. And I have to say, the intelligence trickling out of Tehran right now is downright bizarre. There is massive speculation regarding the status of the new supreme leader. He was entirely absent from his own father's recent funeral, which led to intense rumors that he was severely injured or even killed on the very first day of the war. To make things even stranger, state media recently released an image of a man they claim is the supreme leader, but he's wearing a baseball cap and a mask, standing among traditional clerics. Analysts widely suspect this was actually a body double. So, what this tells us is that the US isn't even completely sure who's truly calling the shots right now, and there is strong evidence that Iran is rapidly shifting from a mixed clerical regime into a pure IRGC military dictatorship. Section 5. The diplomatic back channel, the adults in the room. Yet despite the assassination plots, the missing leaders, and the completely closed shipping lanes, there is a quiet, parallel effort happening completely out of the public eye. Behind the scenes, several nations are stepping right into the void, acting as what some analysts are calling the adults in the room. Qatar has sent high-ranking delegations to Tehran to encourage Iran to keep negotiating. Pakistan is working in the shadows to keep the diplomatic process alive. And most notably, Oman is currently hosting incredibly high-stakes talks involving US Vice President J.D. Vance and the Iranian foreign minister. So while the public rhetoric is all about missiles and blockades, these mediators are frantically trying to stitch together a workable deal behind closed doors. Which brings us to our final critical point. The entire region is literally holding its breath right now. We have an unyielding US administration, an unstable Iranian regime fighting for its very survival, and 1/5 of the global oil supply caught right in the middle. So, the ultimate question you should take away from this explainer is this. Can these diplomatic mediators broker a deal in the shadows before this massive economic standoff explodes into a devastating regional war? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and stay tuned as this highly volatile